news breaks with the same speed.
Sometimes you find the news, and sometimes the news finds you.
All stations can keep up. At Adaba FM, we'll not only give you news at the speed of nanosecond, but we'll also break it down with up-to-date analysis, informed opinions, and distinct professionalism. That's why you love us. Adaba 88.9 FM, your go-to station.
It's 3 o'clock. Good afternoon. Here is Adaba News at 3, and I am Moninkola Ugidon in the news. INEC distributes sensitive materials ahead of Saturday's by-election in Ondo. PDP clears 10 aspirants for Edo governorship primary election. EFCC uncovers religious sects laundering money for terrorists.
This is the news.
The Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, has commenced distribution of sensitive materials for the Saturday by-election in Akoko Northeast Northwest Federal Constituency. A distribution that is ongoing at the INEC headquarters in Akure is being done in the presence of representatives of registered political parties, security agents, as well as accredited journalists. The National Commissioner in charge of Osun, Ekiti, and Ondo, Professor Kunle Ajayi, and INEC Chairman in Ondo State, Toyin Babalola, supervised the distribution. Professor Ajayi said there is synergy between INEC and security agents for a successful outing on Saturday.
We are here to demonstrate our readiness for the February 3rd by-election in Akoko Northeast and Akoko Northwest of Ondo State, and equally to demonstrate our openness to political leaders. Let you know that we are open in everything that we are doing, we are transparent, and that we are inclusive in everything that we are doing. We need to carry along all stakeholders, and political parties are very important as far as elections are concerned. God will take control of that day. There will be no kidnapping anywhere. There will be no thuggery. There will be no violence anywhere.
A total number of 89,636 voters have registered in Akoko Northeast, while 81,855 voters registered in Akoko Northwest. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has screened 10 aspirants ahead of the party's primary election on February 22. Some of the aspirants screened include the Edo State Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu, Asurim Mayor Igodalo Omosede Igbenedion, Anselm Ojezwa, and Felix Akaboy. The screening comes ahead of the September 21 Edo State governorship election. The PDP screening committee, headed by the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, screened the aspirants at the party's national headquarters in Abuja. Addressing newsmen after the screening, Mutfwang reassured the aspirants that the party would ensure fairness for all contestants and emphasized the PDP's commitment to winning the Edo governorship poll. Meanwhile, the APC has raked in 650 million naira from the sale of nomination and expression of interest forms to 13 aspirants. Report has it that all efforts by the APC to reduce its governorship aspirants to 6 failed, as 13 persons eventually bought the forms. The APC Director of Publicity, Bala Ibrahim, however, assured aspirants of fairness and a level playing field. The APC will elect its flag bearer for the governorship race at a primary election to be held on February 17. The Supreme Court has affirmed the election of Governor Amadu Fintiri as governor of Adamawa State. Justice John Okoro, who led judgment on Wednesday, dismissed the appeal by the governorship candidate of APC, Aisha Dahiru. The 5-member panel, led by Justice John Okoro, dismissed Dahiru's appeal for lacking merit. He held that the act of the resident electoral commissioner, Hudu Ari, was an act of irresponsibility and criminality. Justice Okoro further held that the Electoral Act gives the responsibility of who to declare results, and this power exclusively rests on the returning officer. You're listening to Adaba News at 3 on 88.9 FM Akure, and we're transmitting from Ilara Mokin, After the break, EFCC uncovers religious sect laundering money for terrorists. Details of this story and more in just a moment. Please stay with us.
Achievers College of Nursing Sciences is now in Akure. We are pleased to announce that the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria has approved the establishment of Achievers College of Nursing Sciences, situated at Kilometer 2, Ado Owo Road, Ijaku Housing Estate, Akure, Ondo State. The college, which is an affiliate of Achievers University, Owo, Ondo State, now invites application from qualified candidates for the 2023-2024 academic session admission. Candidates must possess at least 5 O-level credits in English, mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology in not more than 2 sittings, and must have obtained a minimum score of 150 at the 2023 UTME with the same correct subject combination. Interested applicants can obtain application forms from the registry of the college at Akure at a cost of 10,000 naira. Screening of applicants holds daily, Monday to Friday, between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. at Achievers College of Nursing Sciences, Kilometer 2, Ado-Owo Road, Ijaku Housing Estate, Akure, Ondo State. Call 0703-826-4197 or 803-222-9522.
The news on Adaba 88.9 FM.
Many thanks for staying tuned. For news update and live streaming, please visit our website www.adaba889.fm or download Adaba FM app on Google Play Store. You can be part of us on our social media platforms www.facebook.com/AdabaFM88.9 on Facebook, at Adaba889FM on Instagram, as well as on X, and Adaba FM TV on YouTube. You can also provide us information via email, newsroom@adaba889.fm. And now to the rest of the news. The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has uncovered how a religious sect in Nigeria is laundering money for terrorists. The EFCC boss made the revelation on Wednesday at the Musa Yaradua Center, Abuja, during a one-day dialogue on youth, religion, and the fight against corruption. He also revealed that another religious body was found to be protecting a money launderer after some money suspected to have been laundered was traced to the organization's bank accounts. He noted that religious organizations, institutions, sects, and bodies have been found culpable of money laundering. Nigeria Labour Congress President Joe Ajaero has criticized the selection process of state governors drafted as members of the 37-member tripartite committee on minimum wage. He noted that most governors on the panel do not pay the current minimum wage. On Tuesday in Lagos, Ajaero said governors will fully comply with the minimum wage and not adequately represented. However, NLC National Vice President Tommy Etim said the 200,000 naira minimum wage earlier proposed to the federal government is no longer realistic considering the country's current economic situation. He emphasized that the Congress would base its national minimum wage negotiation on the current economic reality rather than what it earlier proposed. The federal government had earlier charged the 37-man wage committee to hasten its deliberations and submit its recommendations promptly, while directing the Ministry of Finance to ensure its adequate funding. Reactions have continued to trail the decision of 3 West African countries, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, to withdraw from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Since the pullout, experts are worried about the effect this will have on countries like Nigeria. Olasukomi Elujoba reports.
Analysts are reacting to the sudden exits of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger from the Regional Economic Bloc, ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, raising security concerns. The 3 nations, led by military juntas, announced the withdrawal in a televised broadcast accusing the regional body of becoming a threat to member states. They said the regional bloc betrayed its founding principles and failed to aid its member states in their fight against terrorism and insecurity. They also criticized the sanctions imposed on military regimes in the region by ECOWAS. A former federal lawmaker, Senator Shehu Sani, said with the withdrawal there will be implications and said Nigeria must be cautious.
But we should know that as we impose sanction on the Nigeria Republic, we are also imposing sanction on ourselves. You can see from Borno State to Yobe, Jigawa, Sokoto, and Zamfara. These are frontline states, and we can afford to cripple the security forces of the Nigeria Republic in the name of sanctions, while everything will boil down our country.
A global affairs analyst, Professor F.M. Ubi, said the withdrawal will not only affect Nigeria or ECOWAS security-wise, but countries across the Sahel.
Niger, it's part of the multinational joint task force, part of the group of countries fighting insecurity in the Sahel region where we are all bordered. And so I think it will have a grave impact on us too, because issues of insecurity with the specific focus on terrorism and insurgency is not a one nation thing. It has to be concerted effort. Nations have to come together to fight terrorism. And so I think we really need these countries around, to help us. Now, the escalation too, if not well managed, will precipitate into other parts. You call the Sudan, Somalia, and every other part of the continent into the Sahel. And so we really need to caution, in how we treat these three countries that have decided to move away from the community.
A security expert, Dr. Oluwole Ojewale, said Nigeria and the bloc need the three countries.
You need them. A lot of dairy products that we are consuming in Nigeria come from Niger. And then even beyond those trading things, we need them for counter-insurgency operation. See, Sahel is at our backyard, and we cannot allow that place to become completely ungovernable. And that is the reason why we need them for cooperation. For that security implication, we need them. We can't survive alone without Nigeria shares boundary of about 1,500 kilometers with Niger. That's a huge expanse of land that you don't want to live in the hand of the group that doesn't that is not going to show or take responsibility for security implication of his decisions.
Dr. Jawale asked Nigeria to rejig its foreign policy and live up to expectations.
It has fallen on the present administration to begin to see how they can recalibrate that and make the centerpiece diplomacy, not necessarily military rhetoric, we are going to invade and all those things. So I think that is the process that is taking place now. And people must definitely try to exercise patience as the government try to recalibrate the foreign policy of the country. We do not have alternative to ECOWAS now. And anybody that says ECOWAS has fumbled, has wobbled, and is failing should put alternative on the table. At the reality of the present time, no country can live in silo. And I can tell you, these countries are going to come back to ECOWAS. They need ECOWAS much more than we need them. If there's any other area where we are concerned, is the security implication of their decision. Beyond that, I don't see any other concern or fear that people should entertain as far as the decision that they have made.
Professor Ubi expressed optimism that diplomacy can still bring the regional bloc together.
What has happened now is just a reaction. The three countries are reacting to the scenario that has been played over the last couple of months. I remember that there was that was supposed to be held in Niger, which ECOWAS refused to come. So it could just be a reaction, So in that state, we will not completely say that negotiations won't work. It will work.
The 15-nation bloc was created in 1975 to promote economic integration among member states. However, ECOWAS has struggled in recent years to reverse a wave of military takeovers in the region, including Mali in 2020 and 2021, Burkina Faso in 2022, and in Niger last year. Criticism has been growing over the bloc's strict sanctions against Niger, including the threat of force following the July ouster of President Mohamed Bazoum. Olasunkun Ilujoba, Adaba FM News.
And now to end Adaba News at 3, a recap of our top stories. The Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, has commenced distribution of sensitive materials for Saturday's by-election in Akoko Northeast, Northwest Federal Constituency. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has cleared 10 aspirants ahead of the party's primary election on February 22. Finally, we brought you news that chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has uncovered how a religious sect in Nigeria is laundering money for terrorists. And that ends Adaba News at 3, as edited by Olasukomi Elujoba. I am Moninkola Ugidon. Many thanks for listening. Good afternoon.